Page 58, Brahms Lullaby. They're not really doing too much new here. I'll point a few things out, just for fun. Let's do this again. As far as the right hand goes on this piece is pretty straightforward. And I'm going to go ahead and recommend you play it as it's written, finger it as it's written. Even the repeated notes. This is a slow piece, it's a gentle piece. It's the kind of piece that you can put people to sleep with one exception, and that is the third line down, first and second measures. You see the fingering they have is a 4, 3, 2, and then a 1, 4, and then a 1, 5. Nothing wrong with that, but I think it's a good fingering habit to get into as you're doing this. After you play the last beat in that first measure, the 1, 4, you go ahead and play the half note with 2, 5. Connect both. This method, this will come in handy for you if you can get the hang of it. So I'm encouraging you to give that a try. That's the right hand. Now the left hand, of course, it being a gentle piece, the left hand is going to support the right. So again, you can pretty much just play it the way it's written. Nothing big going on. Right, the left hand's just got the broken chords and all. Just keep the left hand soft because the melody's in the right hand. I will point out a couple minor things there at the bottom for the left hand. Take a look at the last measure. You see an LH over RH. Simply means the left hand crosses over the right hand to play that note. They don't need that there, but they're helping you out by putting it there. You see, the idea is in that last measure, there's nothing in the bottom staff. Everything's in the upper staff. That means both hands, whatever's written, it's all in one staff. And when they do that, most of the time, they do the stems tell you which hand is playing it. So if the stems go up, the right hand's going to play the note or notes, and the stem go down, the left hand's going to play it. So the fact that they have put that D, that last note, with the stem going down, you would probably play it with the left hand. Now, typically, if you had notes in both staffs going on, and you had a D like this in the upper staff, the stem would go down anyway. My point is there's nothing in the lower staff. So both hands are indicated in the upper staff. So, and then, in that case, the stems mean different things. That's my point. So, the last two measures, it would be that. You leave both hands where they are until the end of the 3 counts, and then you'd lift everything at once. It's an expressive thing. You see a note at the bottom. It's expressively to play it. Expressively, whatever that means, be expressive. I don't know. You exaggerate pretty much the crescendos and decrescendos and dynamics. You just really bring them out when you play. You just make it an emotional experience, sort of. For instance, the first line. Just talk about this, just the melody. You have to sort of sing it to yourself, and you have to think expressively. You have to think, sort of thing. I don't know how to think of them. I'm not in an expressive mood right now, so it's a challenge for me. It's just come to here, to here. Be sure and give the first beat of each measure just a little natural accent. You feel it. Follow the phrasing. Now, third line down, second measure, you see the crescendo going into it. It's so do that. Just follow their fingering is fine. I know I'm not fingering it quite the way they do because I have fingering habits. For instance, in the third measure of the third line, I would finger those half notes 4, 5 because that's a habit I have. And to me, this is easy. I mean, this is the whole chord. So if you take the 2/8 notes and the half notes you're just leaving out the G in the chord, but that's the fingering for the chord. So that's how I just finger it. I see chords and things in the music as I'm playing, and I finger it accordingly. So have fun with the phrasing and bring out the dynamics. At the end, the last line, the piece never gets loud, but most of the time it's soft, and now in the last line you're starting it soft and you're going down. Real soft as far as the pedal goes. Most people and most arrangements will pedal this throughout the whole thing. And to do that, I would probably pedal it pretty much each measure, but still pedal it in a way that I can hear the phrases. So however, that's heavy, and it tends to take the gentleness out of the piece because it's just too much sound. So what they're suggesting is very little pedal. It's just pedaling it in a few places. So I suggest you pedal it like they're telling you to pedal it. However, it does cause some other problems. And that is, it's almost too dry. For instance, at the beginning, if I don't pedal this at all, if I play it exactly as it's written, it's this way. Fine, but something you can think about, and that is we'll finger pedal the bass note, because we like to have that bass note sound throughout the whole measure. It sort of sets the harmony of what's coming. So if I just hold that note down, pretend it's a dotted half note, I just hold it down with my finger throughout the whole thing. You experiment with the sound, and what do you like on the pedal? How do you like to do it? The finger pedaling thing is a technique used quite a bit in piano, so you can decide what you'd like to try. As far as the play with me thing, I'm going to play it exactly as it's written. I'm not going to finger pedal anything, or I'm not going to adjust the pedal in any way, so we'll just do it the way it's written. First and second ending at the bottom, so we're going to play this twice. Let's go ahead and try it together slowly. It is a slow piece anyway. 3/4 time in the key of D major. Please go do my scale video on D major, intermediate part, that is 2 octaves up and down. I put the metronome on 70, I think that's okay. I'm going to give us 3 counts and we'll begin. So go ahead and put your hands up where they go. Foot's on the pedal, so we're ready to go. 1, ready, go. 3, off.